Ones during the pandemic have been calling on the Prime Minister to resign after he was fined for breaking COVID lockdown rules.
19-year-old Isabel McKeegan died of cancer in May 2020 when the UK was under the strictest measures. It meant only a handful of people were able to visit her and then attend her funeral. Her mum Amanda joins us now. Morning, Amanda.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in to talk to us. I know it's really difficult to talk about, but it's an important subject, I know, for you today of all days. Take us back to that time in 2020 when Isabel was so very gravely ill. What was it like looking after her? How were you able to see her?
It was really difficult. She'd only been diagnosed 7 months before, and in the February before lockdown, she deteriorated to the point where the tumours in her mouth had stopped her from eating. So she was admitted to hospital to be given TPN, which is artificial feeding. And whilst we were in Aintree Hospital, I think the first consultant in the country was diagnosed with COVID. So we felt I felt, looking at what was happening in Italy, it was important to take her home to try and keep her safe. So we actually started lockdown probably at the end of February, before everybody else. So it was really very isolating. We had little contact with the consultants, the oncologists, simply because they too were following COVID rules. So everything was done by telephone, and it's very difficult. You know, I've never nursed anybody with cancer before, and it was hard to know how quickly she was deteriorating. Once the official lockdown came, we stuck to it very rigidly so that we could keep her safe. And so really the three of us didn't leave the house for over 8 weeks. My other daughter, Eleanor, literally lives at the end of our road and also didn't come round in a bid to keep Isabel safe. And my regret is that they were very miserable those last 8 weeks of life for her, not seeing anybody, including her own sister.
I'm so sorry that you lost Isabel, and I'd just like to, you stuck to the rules, you say. We now know that the Prime Minister broke the rules. He's been fined for that, one party. When you heard that confirmed yesterday with his fine, what was your instant reaction?
Well, I was pleased that the Met had finally found him guilty of something that we all knew had happened. And I felt that he would do the right thing and resign.
You expected him to go?
Well, yes. You know, as my understanding of it, he's broken parliamentary rules. He's not fit to serve. If you can't tell the truth, then you can't lead a country, in my opinion. I'm a primary school teacher, and of everything that I teach the children, probably the most important thing is to be truthful and honest, to have integrity. So if those small children can do it, I can do it, and my 19-year-old can do it, he should too.
I think his explanation from what he said yesterday was that it didn't occur to him that he was breaking the rules, that he thought it was a work event that he didn't realise.
I was a bit offended yesterday, actually. Another MP, Michael Fabricant, said, teachers and nurses were doing exactly the same at the end of the shift. Now, after Isabel passed away, I went back to work as a teacher, and I can assure you we were not. I spent the last 2 years actually not setting eyes on some colleagues that I speak to because we've been in our bubbles, our staff rooms were closed. We spent all day in the classroom with our children. The children ate in the classroom because they were in the bubbles. We were stuck to it rigidly to protect our children, our children's families. And at the time, a very good friend of ours is an NHS nurse and was told that should anybody be caught breaking the lockdown rules, it would be a sackable offence. So for somebody who set those rules to then say he didn't understand them is a mockery, in my opinion.
How angry are you?
Very angry. I think the apology is only because he's been caught, not because he's actually regrets his actions. And my, not concern, I think my expectation is that the Met are only up to June, his birthday, so how many more parties, how many more fines will come in the coming months? Will he continue to apologise, or will he accept what the rest of us can see, that it's not compatible with being a leader to behave in that way?
You're not a politician. I don't want to sort of interrogate you in a political way, but I have to sort of try to sort of make sense of what's happening in terms of the balance here. And, you know, we heard from Grant Shapps, and I told him about your situation on the programme this morning, fellow Cabinet Minister. And he said, look, the Prime Minister led the vaccine rollout. The Prime Minister is helping President Zelensky deal with Vladimir Putin and the war in Ukraine. We're talking about a few minutes in the Cabinet room 2 years ago that we should almost forgive him and let him continue in office. What do you say to those arguments?
I find them an insult, you know, thinking that we don't see through it was only a moment. I think he actually said to you, we all made lapses of judgment. Well, I didn't. And those people who worked for the NHS didn't. They followed the rules strictly. So, he should too. And the fact that people are defending him makes me feel that actually his whole party, this lying and this covering is endemic and they're not to be trusted. I consider myself apolitical. I don't consider myself to have any political party, but I do want somebody who I trust, not just to lead us through a pandemic, but also in places like the Ukraine. Actually, with everything else that's come out, I don't trust Mr Johnson to deal with Russia for me, if I'm perfectly honest. So I would like to see new leadership who could be trustworthy and reflect the honesty and the integrity that the rest of the nation have shown during this difficult 2 years.
Amanda McKeegan, thank you very much indeed for coming in. Wish you and the family well.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's 8 minutes past